Spilled me tea. Ooh. Champions League Matchday 4 Picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is, I haven't got a clue, but just sure as heads in the way. Monday, November the 4th, we are here to pick over a Premier League weekend, which finished, thankfully, in victory about 3 minutes ago. I was in a right rage about 3 minutes ago. Over the moon now, Barry. Easy game. And we'll have a look at the Champions League Matchday 4 games, which take place Tuesday, Wednesday this week. Joining me, he's back. You must be absolutely delighted, Barry, to be back in this cold, dark, bleak country that's populated almost entirely with knobheads. Having had a lovely holiday. It's Mr. Barry Penaluna. Baz, what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely emotionally drained, returning back to normality today. And not even really back to normality because I don't return to work till tomorrow. I just had the journey from Newcastle back down to Nottingham today. Not ready for real life, I'm not ready for it at all. I'm absolutely knackered. I'm not ready to stop drinking either. I'm still on the red wine.
Oh, God, you're an absolute creature, Barry. I don't know how you do it. I had 3.5 pints on Friday night, and I feel now like I've been run over a little bit. I played 7-7. We had a lads v dads football yesterday for Bob's birthday. He wanted to take on the adults, and everyone's ruined. The WhatsApp group this morning has just been old men complaining about what hurts, what's hanging off. Callum in the chat said he's done his arm ligaments picking up a set of darts this week, which is pretty spectacular, Cal. Well done. So, yeah, I got the IT department to rub some Tiger Balm on. I don't know if it's me kidneys. How many kidneys have you got? What are they in here? Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that information. Say hello to the chat. Yeah, Callum was first in. Callum, how are you doing, Lee? Andy had a game yesterday in the lads v dads. He struck the bar with a 30-yard thumping effort. That was the highlight of his efforts. Connor enjoyed Tottenham's win. Michael had Fulham in last man standing. Absolute scenes for Michael there. James is here. James, how you doing, Harry? Chelsea. And yeah, like I say, that's everyone in. Funny old weekend, Barry, of results. The picks weren't great, but that's just saved us. I just spent the last 10 minutes before we started sort of planning my rant about how unlucky everything was. Because I took Fulham tonight, and then I needed both teams to score to land my acca. So I could only lose, with like a 0-0 or Brentford winning to 0. And if you watch the game, I mean, Brentford have conceded 3 times in the last 4 games. Fulham have scored every game at home this season. And Fulham battered them. Brentford have scored 1 speculative 30-yard punt. And I was just about to lose me rag on here. And then all of a sudden, Harry Wilson, who's not known for his goal scoring, has come off the bench and scored 91-95, which got me a late winner at Fulham at even money. But cashed my corned beef pie accumulator, Barry. So just about saved the weekend picks-wise. Not great, though, and it was tricky. I was counting the overs and unders. I thought it was 5 and 5. I was going to say the overs aren't really representing value because they're all short. They're all about 8 to 11. And it's still a lot of unders. Like, as it happens, it's gone 4 and 6 now that Fulham have done that. Undoubtedly, the highlight, Barry, I think, is Newcastle beating Arsenal. I had a lovely time at the game. It's nice to win the first game of the weekend, the Saturday lunchtime game. Just sets you up for the weekend. I really wasn't that bothered that all my bets started going tits up after that because nothing could ruin the weekend. It was just a really good feeling. Managed to take both the kids. They enjoyed it. Have enjoyed the Arsenal meltdown ever since. That's been great. Usual unlucky on a couple of things. I think Man City were definitely a bad pick. They're struggling, Baz. Just not playing well. And I think Forest was a bad pick in hindsight. Forest are playing really well. West Ham aren't. And West Ham's only bit of form was that win over West Ham, which was very fortunate. And Forest were a great price, and I felt a bit stupid trying to get a bit cute with the 1-1 draw after that. Everton and Chelsea, I thought it was on the right side of. Everton flips with one passage of play where Beto hits the crossbar after 86. He goes straight up the other end and you lose 1-0. And Chelsea were better than Man United. So that was about me for the weekend, Baz. Like I say, saved very much tonight by Fulham. Did you manage to get much consumed, or you've been travelling and...
Didn't watch a lot. I watched the Newcastle game. Yesterday I was travelling, so missed all of yesterday. And then I watched the second half tonight. So that's all I watched. And to be honest, I'm glad because my picks were absolute garbage. I'm blaming the hot weather. Maybe I was suffering from a bit of sunstroke or something like that. But my picks were garbage. I started well. I said I fancied Newcastle to get something from the game. I ended up going with cards, which cashed easily. I think we got to 8, and we should have probably had about a dozen. I was really frustrated with that cards bet because the first half, the referee just gave every one of their players an extra life where he pulled them over and talked to them a little bit, said, "Oh, you can't do that again. Oh, you can't shout at me like that again. Don't do that." And then the second Tonali came on and made his first foul, the card was out in a flash. So yeah, they got let off with a few, but it came in easily enough in the end. The Forest one I got right. I took the overs. Possibly a little fortunate to get the third one late on, but everything else was shite. I was goal short. I needed, obviously, Chelsea, Wolves, Everton when we moneyline picks, and then a goal short on a few things tonight. Obviously, I needed a Brentford second goal. So yeah, really poor from me in terms of my picks this weekend. Must do better. Must put a bit more effort in this week. No excuses anymore.
Underwater picks was a highlight, Basil. I enjoyed that. I think you got your video out on Saturday. Everyone enjoyed that. It was the bit of it they laughed and just say, "All right, I'm in the Red Sea." It was just great. It was very, very funny, Barry. So well done.
I mean, Harry's mentioned in the chat he wants to picks from the sea. You won't be missed. It's a little bit disappointing. A lot of effort went into
the
that.
result doesn't matter. If Barry's in the sea making picks, that's all that matters.
I put out 2 picks. That it was on the championship game on the Friday night, actually. I put out Luton to win, which they didn't. But I also said the under 2.5 was 11-10. Finished 1-1. So the under 2.5 hit anyway. So yeah, Harry can fuck off. Harry can get in the sea.
It's a bit strong. Go on, Harry. 10 minutes sin bin for Harry. Barry's banished him. Pete's joined us. Pete's picks. Winning double he gave out on the podcast last week on the ponies. Beautiful. And Callum just reminded me about the FA Cup games. Listener streaks. We need a new player, actually. If you want to get involved, give us a shout. And he made it all the way to 3 and then blobbed it on Friday night with Tamworth against Huddersfield. Huddersfield to win 0. They didn't win. And Tamworth scored a goal. So he got that pretty wrong. So the bar still sat at 3, which is it's not brilliant, let's be honest. Right, I've got a little bit of lifestyle I want to tell you about, Baz. I've made a list here. Look at the size of this list. I'm going to read it all out as well. Whoa, look at that. Whoa,
God.
scroll up there. I went to the pub on Friday night, Barry. Don't go very often, you know me, maybe once a month, bit less often. I went with Holmesy, Walker, and Matty Glover. Holmesy and Walker are my two best mates from school since we were 10-year-old, known them 40 years. Matty Glover used to work with Holmesy in the Piper, known him about 30 years. So we went to the 3 Mile Inn, and I'm going to read this list out. And there is a reason, Barry, I'm reading this list out. It's a list of things we talked about, right? We got the pub about 8:15 on Friday night. So, yes, a list of things that were discussed. And I've had to make this afternoon, so I'm not... There's probably things I've missed out. But Luton West Brom, Tamworth being the most boring town in England, One Direction, Shiny Pants, Musa Sissoko, Slutty Halloween outfits, Highbury, Chelsea, me then remembering it's Telford that's not Tamworth that's boring, tax and self-assessment, Holmesy's cat, Duncan Ferguson, Dave Haran, Tits, Amsterdam, Shagging, brackets, the price of sex workers, Guinness Zero, Happy Hour Promotions, Alistair Down, the Powder Beacher, Bed Bugs, French Onion Soup, Pumpkin Soup, Joe Linton, Crossbows, Sports Personality of the Year, Sir Chris Hoy, The Big Match Revisited, Glenn Hoddle, Ron Atkinson, and Frey Bentos chicken balti pie presentation techniques, right? That's what we talked about until at 10:52 p.m. Holmes, he said to Walker, "Oh, anyway, what's the situation with the divorce and the custody battle for the children?" And it just made me, I nearly fell off my chair laughing. I was like, lads, it's taken a 10:52 for someone to ask Walker probably the most important question. A good solid 2 hours and 37 minutes. And at least all of those topics that we talked about. It was just blokes in the pub. And I imagine Walker, I'm not all for mental health, I'm all for checking in on your mates. We occasionally do it. And me and Walker have had a couple of sensible chats about it. But that was just Friday night in the pub, and it didn't need talked about until Holmesy brought it up at 10:52. So that made me laugh a lot, Barry. I enjoyed that.
Who was the Alistair in the list?
Alistair Down. Alistair Down, people might know. He was a Racing Post journalist. You will know him. You remember when Cheltenham do those like really arty bits to music, and there's a bloke telling, yeah, it's Alistair Down that generally narrates them, and he used to write all the pieces in the Racing Post. So I mentioned the Pardubice in that. The Pardubice is like the Czech equivalent of the Grand National. And Alistair Down wrote that it was his first ever 3-cigarette horse race. That's what I remember best about Alistair Down. It was a really nice line in one of his articles from like 1997 when I used to get the Racing Post every day. So that is where Alistair Down came from.
I thought you said Alistair Darling. I was just intrigued as to why the former Chancellor of the Exchequer got
it was Alistair Down. He died last week. Rest in peace. We'll do some eye-catchers, Baz, for 10 minutes, and then we'll make some Champions League picks. Michael reckons Musa Sissoko was underrated. Musa Sissoko was a terrible, terrible footballer. Part of the chat we had on Friday night was, I reckon if you put him in the Olympics, he'd win quite a lot of stuff because he was just an incredible athlete. He'd say, all right, Musa, go and jump over that. No problem. Go and run really fast over there. Go and throw that item of equipment along that bit of grass. He could win loads of stuff. Football, he was absolutely terrible at, but he was really good at running about. SGPN promos. Let's have a look. I haven't read these. College basketball is back. We all knew that. If you aren't already subscribed to the College Experience for their daily picks, podcasts, breaking it all down, do that. Thanks always for tuning in. If you can head to Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. You can prevent corporate gambling from taking over. Underdog Pick'em. It's got one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, and NASCAR. Specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Our code is PLGP to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Eye catchers, Baz. I think it would be churlish not to start with Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth with it too. Forest, I faded them at the weekend. I said they were in a false position. They probably are, but equally, they were great. They were great again. The West Ham imploded. They get a red card. And we know Chris Wood's, to my eye, not naturally a 35-goal a season man. But they started really well. Elliot Anderson's playing well. They've got Gibbs White to come back in. But they made some good signings. I can't remember the centre-back now. Something Mikilenko, something like that. Milenkovic, is that his name? Something like that. He's playing really well. Callum Hudson-Odoi's playing really well. Like I say, Elliot Anderson. Murillo at the back's a really good player. And Bournemouth really haven't beat Man City. First time they've ever beat Manchester City in the history at the weekend. And have just carried on from where they finished last year. Because we did say from when Iraola came in, they would have finished about 5th, I think, last year. They picked up the 5th most points and have just started again this year. So I think they've definitely sort of fought themselves into their own little section in the league because they're not in the top 7 or 8. But they're certainly not like a bottom third team, sort of Palace Wolves and the promoted teams, that sort of thing. So I think they've got themselves into a middle section. And who knows, Baz, because the league is really, really tight at the minute. There's 4 points covering from 4th to 10th. Like, I looked at the teams who have supposedly been doing really well, and then the teams who haven't. For example, Newcastle. Newcastle are Andy-Gordon missed penalty in the first goal against Brighton, away from being 3rd in the table. So it's all really, really, it's all really tight. I'm just going to ask Barry's opinion on that, but it's gone black and he's disappeared. Oh, hang on. He's lighting another candle. You put a 50 pence in the meter there, Baz. What's happening? And you're on mute. Come on, say things.
I'll probably say I'm mute because I was getting up to put the light on. I don't know why. I'm sat in the lounge on my own and the lights just turned off. That's
Halloween, innit?
It's not normal, that. So I've had to get up and go to the light switch and then turn it off and then turn it back on and it's come back on. So I don't know what that's all about.
Okay. Have you got any strong thoughts on Forest or Bournemouth?
Yeah, I mean, I said Forest were a good shout at the weekend. I went with the goals in the end. But yeah, I didn't doubt them. I said they'd been in good form. I was tempted with them as a pick, but ended up going with the over 2.5. So, I mean, they've still lost just the one game, haven't they? Fulham, and even that one was a controversial penalty in that game. So yeah, you've got to give them a bit of credit for how they're going. Bournemouth, I didn't watch the game. I've seen highlights of Haaland doing it every.
Very, very good value, Baz. Very good value for it.
Yeah. And obviously Newcastle, you mentioned, I thought were really good, but crikey, Arsenal were a bit underwhelming, weren't they? I mean, they never laid a glove on us, really, did the Pope? Barely made a save, I don't think, all game.
They didn't make a save. They had one shot on target, which was blocked by Lewis Hall. That's 2 years running with one shot on target, by the way. And you can still find a million different excuses that had nothing to do with that. What got me about that performance was when they came to make the changes after 60, 65 minutes, because we've seen this a few weeks ago when we played Man City, we got the draw, and they go to make the changes, and it was Doku, and I don't know if De Bruyne came on, and Grealish, and players like that. Arsenal just brought on more left-backs and more CDMs. It was Zinchenko, it was Ben White, it was Jorginho. I was like, you can bring as many of them on as you want, lads. Bring them all on. Like, I just never, ever got the impression. Havertz is shite, by the way. We can confirm that now. We can put that to bed. Like, he's just not a centre-forward. I don't know what he is. He's a vanity project. He's a luxury item. It's all these people who think, if you think Havertz is shite, you don't know football. I've watched him. He's pony. I don't know what he is. He's absolutely pony. Gabriel Jesus is pony. Trossard's pony. That's about it, really. If they don't score a set piece, they don't score. They're a souped-up Stoke City, like. They're absolutely ridiculous. I was delighted we beat them, but...
Oh, I was delighted as well. Good. Well, I don't have any love for Arteta. To be fair, he had nothing he could moan about this week. And
no.
There was a little bit of Arsenal fans clutching at straws a little bit, but I think the vast majority saw it as a really, really poor performance. And actually, it was Arteta that was coming under a bit of fire from Arsenal fans this week for the first time in a while. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they react this week. And I've seen Arsenal fans, a few of them, talking about injuries. And we said at the start of the season, Arsenal have been really lucky the last couple of years in terms of being able to keep everyone fit. But they haven't had loads of injuries, Malcolm. They've had Odegaard out, which is a massive, massive loss. And then Who else is? They've not had. It's not like they're suffering any kind of injury crisis, like everybody else seems to suffer.
Probably the best players out, Odegaard.
Yeah, you give them that. But
That's,
how many other teams are in that position week in, week out, where you've got big players missing? You know, City missing De Bruyne pretty much every week at the moment, and you know we went through last season missing 3 or 4 of ours all throughout. So I've no sympathy for Arsenal missing one player for 4 or 5 weeks.
a couple of people mentioning Liverpool in the chat, James, and don't know if it was Connor earlier on, maybe talking about Liverpool just plodding along. They looked like they were toast, actually. I was really pleased with me pick. I remember I was confident about the under 3.5 goals. And the 1 goal at 70 minutes, I was really smelling myself. I was like, you're an absolute genius, son. It turns out I am, but it was a bit closer than it might have been because Liverpool got those 2 goals. But again, Liverpool going along. We did mention them a few weeks ago, Baz, at 6-1, 5 or 6-1. When we didn't fancy Arsenal much, and we still think, or at the time we thought Man City might have points taken up, but Man City are struggling. Like that, the Rodri thing might just be a real thing. Like it might be affecting them a hell of a lot more than we thought, than we gave them credit for. Coisty's joined in. He was apparently selling bodily fluids to fund his Breeders' Cup losses. I missed most of the Breeders' Cup, Coisty. I normally do the show with the boys last week, but it was the same night as the Chelsea match. So I took Bob to the match now for his birthday. So I missed the Breeders' Cup show. And then I've just been busy all weekend, so I need to catch up with it. I know City of Troy ran like a hairy goat. I think that's the only information I kept up on. That was it really for me, Baz, eye catches wise. We didn't learn much about Man United and Chelsea. Stupid goalkeeping mistake from the Chelsea keeper. I think Chelsea might have nicked it 1-0. But yeah, that was about it. The bottom teams just bummed around doing what the bottom teams do. Ipswich and Leicester. It's the Ipswich fans this week, by the way, that everything's a conspiracy. The corruption, PGMOL, Premier League corrupt. It's Ipswich fans. Nottingham Forest fans, it's not corrupt this season anymore. I'm not sure what's happened there. It was corrupt last season. This season's fine. So they must have stopped being corrupt towards Forest and they've chosen someone. You must just get your name pulled out of a hat maybe at the start of the year. Not sure how it works, but it's Ipswich this week. But Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, Wolves, Palace, like not much of a muchness there. Next week, actually.
One other thing to mention. I wonder if the Morrison's butcher has had his name pulled out of a hat for just being allowed as many lives as he likes at trying to break someone's leg, because he just seems to get away with absolute ludicrous challenges every week. How's that not a red card? And I've seen some people try and justify it by saying he slipped. He slips and then he takes him out knee high. He makes a decision with his non-slippy leg to go taking him out at the knee. How they can look at it and say no, that's fine, carry on. You just keep doing that every week, mate. That's fine. That's your.
It wasn't as bad as the one at Palace, which still absolutely blows my mind. But it was exactly the same as the Bruno Fernandes one. Even the little slip, like exactly. Bruno Fernandes got sent off for that. I thought it was a red card.
Well, Bruno Fernandes got his overturned. I think Martinez was worse because he goes in with his studs up, whereas Bruno didn't, and he caught him higher than Bruno did. I definitely thought it was a worse challenge, and it was definitely a red card challenge.
Fair enough. I think that's just about me, Baz. Eye-catching wise, have you got anything else you want to talk about before we have a look at these Champions League games?
No, let's get stuck into it.
Okay. I'm going to tell you first about Rhythm, SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm, the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform, helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to customize predictive betting models in seconds, get predictions for betting on moneyline spreads, totals, and props, build your own model, copy your top-performing model, all of that stuff. Rhythm just launched their college basketball models to claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And BetUS, the best in the business, been around for over 30 years. You can deposit using crypto, get lightning fast payouts as well. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus with the promo code SGPN. Right, okay. Champions League this week is Tuesday and Wednesday. 2 early games on each day. The usual format that we're now slowly getting more used to. But we still need a listener for listener streaks, by the way. If anyone wants to start tomorrow, James, you're lurking in there. Coisty, I know you two. Connor, so you haven't played yet either. Indeed, anyone who's listening to the podcast, if you want to get in the queue, you don't have to join the live. Just give us a shout. Because it's only 3 to beat. You could etch yourself into immortality. First thing I noticed about the Champions League this week, Braz, was that the top 3 are all English. The top 3 in the 36-team league. Villa and Liverpool, both with a 100% record, and then Man City sitting on 7 points. There's only 2 teams with a 100% record. They are Villa and Liverpool. The 6 teams down the bottom that have lost 3 out of 3. And I focused quite heavily on them, Baz. I thought I was quite happy to start taking a form line through those teams that are struggling. How many games you got? We've done this. We've done the usual thing of not discussing what we're doing.
I've got 4.
I've got an early. You've got 4, right?
Yes,
I've got 5.
I think I've got 1 on Tuesday, 3 on Wednesday. Mine's very England heavy. I've got a few of the English games. But I did look at it very similar to you, sort of looking at
them actually. I have picked the game. Coisty's saying that Celtic Leipzig has to be one of the games. Coming right up, Coisty. Yeah, I've picked that one. But I'm going early on Tuesday. 5:45 kickoff, 12:45 Eastern Time. Slovan Bratislava and Dynamo Zagreb. Bratislava 3-1, 5-2 plus 250 the draw. Zagreb were even money when I handicapped this. They are now 9-10, minus 111. Slovan Bratislava are one of those teams who've lost 3 out of 3. They have scored 1 and conceded 11. They lost 5-1 at Celtic, 4-0 against Manchester City, and 2-0 at Girona. Zagreb got humped 9-2 at Munich, if you remember, Matchday 1 in that funny one. But they've actually bounced back really well. They got a 2-2 against Monaco, and Monaco have been in excellent form, actually. And they beat Salzburg 2-0. Good performance, actually, and decent comparison game here, Salzburg and Bratislava. The Zagreb team total caught my eye. That's over 1.5 is 5-6, minus 120. But I think if they score twice, they win. So I had Zagreb winning this at even money. There might still be some even money kicking around, although 365 has shown me 9-10, minus 111. But Dynamo Zagreb to win in Bratislava, Baz, is my first play.
Yeah, didn't look at that one, but my first one is Tuesday night. It's a Liverpool v Leverkusen game. Have you got that one, and have you got the odds?
I have not got that one, but I can give you the odds. Tuesday, Liverpool are 7-10, minus 142. The draw 16-5 plus 320. And Leverkusen are Burlington Birdie 100-30 plus 333.
Yeah, so I just like to look at this one as a game to watch potentially. So wanted to get stuck in and find something on it. Leverkusen's, they were last season were renowned for their late equalisers, late goals, late winners all the time. That look seems to have dried up a little bit. Lots of draws this season and conceding late equaliser. Last week I noted shows they aren't quite getting the same look, but they aren't losing many games. They've only lost 1 game this season, Leverkusen, in all competitions. Lost to Leipzig early in the season. That's the only defeat for them. They started with 2 wins in this. Did slip up last time out, 1-1 against Brest in the last round of games. And then Liverpool, on the other hand, rock solid, as you say, top of the league with 3 wins from 3. And they've had a difficult enough start. Milan, Leipzig and Bologna, quite a hard, a sort of tricky first 3 games. Their overall form is obviously really strong as well. Just the 1 defeat all season against Forest. But I think they've rode their luck a little. I'm not saying they haven't deserved to win the games lately, but they've been in a lot of tight games. They aren't going to blow many teams away this season, I don't think, the way they're playing. Very different approach from Slot. The last 5 wins in all competitions have all come by a single goal margin. They also had the draw against Arsenal in there. So they haven't won by 2 goals in their last 6 games. So I just think this could be a very tight game. Leverkusen aren't losing many games. I say there are a lot of draws there, but they're not losing many. I think we might see Liverpool drop their first points here. I think Leverkusen can get something in a tight game. So I'm going to take the 2 outcomes on my side. I've got Leverkusen double chance here. I think they'll get something at Anfield. Leverkusen double chance at 11-10 will be my first pick for the Champions League.
I will not take the piss out of you, Barry, because my next bet is a draw no bet, so you are off the hook. Turns out I've got 4 Tuesday night games here, Baz, so we can fire off the big old lucky 15. I watched Only Connect before, Monday night's quiz night, Baz, Only Connect, and then University Challenge. One of the questions was a sort of a maths combinations related question, and I got the answer purely because it was Yankees and lucky 15s. That wasn't the question, but it was just how my brain read it. And like the IT department looked at me, it was like, how'd you work that out? It was just like 6 doubles, 3 trebles in a 4-timer. It was one of those where my brain knew what the bet was, and then I could answer the question. Like just the gambler's thing. I impressed myself. Joe's joined us. Joe, how you doing? Joe was very magnanimous after Arsenal. Joe, have you joined late on purpose to have avoided the Newcastle Arsenal chat? Have you just thought half an hour was a safe amount of time to get in? Because we can go over it again if you want, Joe. It's not a problem. Bologna taking on Monaco is my second play. Bologna are 7-4 plus 175. The draw is 23-10 plus 230. Monaco 8-5. Price is that? I haven't written it down. Can't work it out. Bologna 1 point so far. They haven't scored a goal, Baz. That's not very good, is it? They got a 0-0 at home to Shakhtar. Away at Shakhtar. Lost 2-0 against Liverpool. Lost 2-0 against Villa. Now, actually, they played okay in spells in both of those two. But they're not winning games at home. I actually took them to get something at Villa Park. They've won 3 of their 10 league games back in Italy, drawn 6. Monaco have caught the eye, Baz. They've got 7 points. Took advantage of a red card when they beat Barcelona. They got a 2-2 in Zagreb, and then they stuffed Red Star 5-1. I just don't fancy Bologna to win a game because they're not winning games and they're not scoring. So I am going to go slightly off the ladies' menu here, Baz, but I'm going to take the Monaco draw no bet because I think if there is an outright winner, it's going to be Monaco. Monaco draw no bet is 5-6 minus 120, Baz.
Yeah, I don't mind that. The rest of mine are all Wednesday, so I don't know if you want to stay in chronological order, if we want to hop back and forth.
Right, okay then.
Highly up to you.
Right, we'll go. I know we want to get to Celtic. Coisty's eager. Celtic taking on Red Bull Leipzig. Celtic are. There's been quite a lot of movement here in a lot of these games. There's been some money for Celtic, actually. They are 9-4 plus 225. The draw 13-5 plus 260. And Leipzig are 15-13 plus 115. They were plus 105, so they've drifted out a 10th of a point, Leipzig. I faded Celtic last time in Atalanta. And they spawned a 0-0 somehow because they got mangled. They got absolutely mangled. Atalanta had a gazillion shots in the first half. They got absolutely battered, particularly. They've already played German opposition. They played Leipzig here. They got humped, didn't they, off Dortmund? Was it 5, 6, 7? I can't even remember. It was loads, wasn't it? They put absolutely tons past them. Leipzig have lost 3 out of 3. So that was another reason they kind of caught my eye here. But they've had tougher games. They've lost to Atletico Madrid. They've lost at home to Juventus. And they've lost to Liverpool. This is a step down. This is a major step down, by the way. They lost at Dortmund on Saturday, but they've now won. They won 4 in a row before that. They've won in Leverkusen this season, decent away form. That form line's good enough here, surely. to roll Celtic over. Like I say, we've seen Celtic lose by 1 million goals already to a German team. Plus money, 15 to 13 for Leipzig. You have to take the Germans here. You're on mute, Bazza.
Sorry. Yeah, I did look at that game and just didn't want to get involved because Celtic have had a couple of okay results in this competition. So I dodged it in the end. I couldn't take a pick, but I don't mind taking on Celtic in the Champions League generally. So yeah, don't mind the pick.
Right, I'm cracking on to my next one then because this is Tuesday as well. It is Feyenoord. Oh, hang on, what day is that? No, that's on Wednesday. Sporting Lisbon, Man City. That's Tuesday. Yeah, Sporting Lisbon. 16 to 5 plus 320. The draw 14 to 5 plus 280. And Manchester City are 4 to 5 minus 125. I just wanted this game because City are too short. Like they were 3 to 4 when I looked at it. They've drifted a little bit here. But they're just too short to win at Sporting Lisbon when they're really struggling. They've just lost at Bournemouth and fairly not comfortably, but it wasn't a false final, even a little bit. And Lisbon have been very, very competitive. There's the little fly in the ointment. We don't know how they're going to react to the Amarin thing. I think Amarin's still in charge tomorrow, so that would be a way for him to go out with a bang. They beat Lille 2-0 at home. Lille have been very, very good. They got a draw on PSV, and then they won 2-0 in Sturm Graz. Victor Gyökeres is in absolutely terrifying form. They've won 10 out of 10 at home in Portugal and scored 35 goals doing it. They've got to give them a game. This is going to be a torrid night for Manchester City. The way I'm going to go is Sporting team total over 1.5. It's 13 to 8 plus 162. I'm tempted by Sporting on the outright, but Man City could get a couple. But yeah, Sporting team total, Baz. But I definitely wanted something to do with Lisbon on my side here.
Yeah, again, I dodged this one just because I didn't want to have a go on Man City, and I wasn't sure about Sporting with having lost Amarin. I didn't realise he was still there this week. So yeah, I definitely wanted to dodge on this occasion, but don't mind anyone taking on a decent side against Man City at the moment. Not a bad approach. Is that you done with the Tuesday night games then?
Yeah, I've got Feyenoord left on Wednesday, mate. That's me done.
Right. Oh well, we've got quite a variation here then. So my next one up is Club Brugge against Villa. So if you've got the prices for that, that would be handy.
Yeah, I have. Club Brugge are 12 to 5 plus 240, 5 to 2 the draw plus 250. Villa 11 to 10 plus 110.
Yeah. So Club Brugge sitting 3 points, beat Sturm Graz, but they did get well beaten against Dortmund 3-0 and a 3-1 against AC Milan. Villa, as you mentioned, sitting top of the table, 3 wins from 3, scored 6, conceded none. Really solid start. The problem with Villa is they have slipped up a bit recently domestically, no win in 3 games now. But I just think it's a nice spot for them here to continue their great start in this competition. As I say, the win over Sturm Graz doesn't bother me too much. Fairly short handicap on this one, just because I was looking down the list and this one stood out to me. I thought Villa were a nice price. I felt I wanted to get involved with them. It's team total for me, over 1.5 Villa goals. Villa have scored 6 in the 3 games, averaging 2 a game. Bruges have just conceded 3 against Milan and against Dortmund. I think Villa will win this one. But I'm going to take the Villa team total. So Villa to score 2 or more at 10 to 11 would be my pick in that one. And then
I was quite happy to avoid Villa. Just had my fingers burned 2 weeks running. Villa team total yesterday. They scored half an hour in and looked like they were good value for more and more goals. And that's when I went to play football and then got in the van after, and it was 4-1 Tottenham. And the week before was the 96-minute equaliser for Bournemouth. So I didn't want to keep doing that. I'll leave Villa for a week and I'll get them right this weekend. So that's me. Next up, Baz.
Next up for me is Inter Milan v Arsenal. So as I say, I have taken 3
You have, haven't you?
UK games
On brand.
So Inter Milan Arsenal. I've got the odds here.
Arsenal 8.
You got them.
Oh,
Go on, fire them up.
Inter Milan 8-5 plus 160, 21-10 the draw plus 210, 19-10 Arsenal plus 190.
So, I mean, the first thought here was the unders. Neither side have conceded yet in the tournament. All three of Arsenal's games have gone under 2.5 goals, and 2 out of 3 for Inter have gone under 2.5 goals as well. It's 8-11. It's a little bit short, but definitely a pick I would like would be the under 2.5 here. But after what I saw at the weekend, I think Arsenal are worth taking on here. Away from home against Inter, who Inter got off to a slow start, bit of a stuttering start of the season. They won only 2 of their first 6, but they've won 7 of their last 8 since. The only points they dropped was a 4-4 draw against Juventus, which is a little bit nuts. Sorry, I've got a really tickly cough. I'm blaming it on 12 days of air conditioning, followed by 5 hours on a flight. I always come back from a flight absolutely ill. So I'm going downhill here. Anyway, in the half starting to click now. They've had a favourable start in this competition. They have faced Red Star and Young Boys, who are 2 of those teams you've mentioned at the bottom end of the table, who are strugglers. But they did look good in a 0-0 against City as well. And then you look at Arsenal, who had just done the exact opposite, where Inter started slowly. Arsenal started really strongly this season, and they've started to unravel a little bit. No win in 3 league games. Really underwhelming 1-0 last time out in this competition against... Who was it last time? Can't remember now. Was it Shakhtar or someone like that? Yeah. So they offered nothing against Newcastle at the weekend. And against a really strong defensive side in Inter have kept 5 clean sheets in the last 7 competitive games now. I just think Inter look at a decent price at 8-5. I think Inter might nick this tight 1-0, something like that. But I'm going to take Inter at 8-5 to beat Arsenal this week.
Yeah, they're definitely rattled. If Inter have got anything approaching an Italian Sean Longstaff in the middle of the pot to lock them up, Arsenal have got absolutely fucking no chance. Right, I've got one more, yeah, which is on Wednesday. Is it? Oh, yeah, it is. In the games, we're back on the dog shit teams again. It's Feyenoord against Salzburg. Feyenoord are short here. They're 11-20, minus 180. The draw's 3-1, and Salzburg are 5-1. So Feyenoord opened up by getting hammered off Leverkusen. They lost 4-0, but they've had back-to-back really good away wins. They've won 3-2 in Girona and 3-1 in Benfica. Good form line, that, not to be sniffed at all. 6 away goals in 2 games is a really good sign as well. They've won 4 out of their last 5 in Netherlands. The one they did lose was to Ajax. So they're going well after a slow start. Like, they started the entire season slowly, not just the Champions League, and they've righted the ship completely across all competitions. Salzburg, 3 defeats without a goal. Similar to who was it earlier on? Bologna, who hadn't scored either. 3-0, 4-0, and 2-0 have been their 3 defeats. So, 2 angles. It just looks like an obvious spot for a Feyenoord handicap. That is plus 137, 11-8. But if you want a little safety net, if you want to put the 2-1 in there, Feyenoord to win and score 2 or more goals, that's 13-18, minus 138. So that's a little bit of a shorty. But yeah, Feyenoord should be able to beat them and cover the handicap here. So a couple of ways in, but yeah, all aboard Feyenoord, Baz.
Nice, like it. My final one here is, you're good at pronouncing this, Red Star, Belgrade, I would call them. But it's what, Crvena, Zvesda? Does that sound all right?
Crvena, Zvesda.
Yeah, I knew you'd have the a little bit accent on it. Against Barcelona. And that's one game I thought you might have went to because you mentioned sort of looking at those teams who are struggling at the bottom. Odds 12-1, Crvena, Zvesda. The draw is 13-2 plus 650, and Barcelona or 2-11 is that minus 550.
Well done, Barry.
Reeled that off without any notes at all, but there you go. I looked at it just because I wanted to get involved in Barcelona because they're on absolute fire at the moment. And they did start, you mentioned earlier, the Monaco game with a defeat, courtesy of an early red card, which put them up against it. But they then put 5 past Young Boys. They've put 4 past Bayern. And they're going really well in the league at the moment. Absolutely battered Madrid last week, 4-0 as well. Top of the league, just won 6 games in a row. And those 6 games saw them score 3 goals as a minimum in each of them. In each of those games. They're 4-6 here to score 3 goals, which isn't a bad price for an ACCA. And if they do so, I just think they'll cover the handicap. The Young Boys game is a good comparison. Another team who are struggling. Barcelona have got plenty of clean sheets in them lately. I think the handicap, the Asian handicap is Barcelona -2. So they win by 2, you get a push. I think they'll win by 3 at a canter here. 5-6, Barcelona -2 on the handicap. So we get a push if they win by 2. We need them to win by 3 to cash the bet. And as I say, I do like the 4-6 Barcelona team total. They're just on absolute fire at the moment, and definitely a team I'd like to get involved with this week.
Yeah, if they beat Real Madrid 4-0, Baz, you'd fancy them to beat Red Star.
Yeah, I mean, Joe in the chat mentioned another one that I looked at, which was the over 3.5 Barcelona goals, 13-8. You're getting for that, plus 166. So a decent price for them to score 4 goals. I don't mind that at all.
Champion, is that you done?
That is me done.
Well, that is also me done, Barry. Is there anything else you would like to tell the people about before we go?
Yes, there is. Just a very brief one. We got our first 1-star review last week, Malcolm. That was funny, wasn't it? We want to thank JPNBD7 for listening to the show. Said it was a waste of his time, but at least he wasted a bit more time giving us a 1-star review. We're not very sensitive about things like that, Malcolm. We don't take ourselves serious. But if anyone would like to redress the balance and leave us a 5-star review, then go and do that on iTunes.
Even 2 stars, Baz, will do me, frankly.
Whatever. But yeah, the usual thing, go put your 5-star reviews, Spotify, iTunes, and the likes. And that would be good. Thank you very much. That is all.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Barry. Yeah, he's right. Like, go and do 5 stars on that, because then the bosses see it and think we're in some way competent, which we all know we're not. But they don't have to know that, do they? We can keep that very much within these 4 walls. Right. Okay, Barry, we'll let you go because I know you've had a tired and emotional day getting back from Egypt. Thanks, everyone in the chat. Looking forward to a week of Champions League action. Feel a load better. Newcastle got a win on the board. So enthusiasm is now at an all-time high. Right, okay. Back probably Thursday, Baz, Wednesday or Thursday for Premier League. Is there any Friday night Prem this week?
I've no idea. I haven't looked that far ahead.
Competitions, let's have a look. I can work this out. I'm lightning fast on this computer, Baz. I'm a right boffin. No, there's not even a Saturday lunchtime game. 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock Saturday. So we'll probably go Thursday night then, shall we? In the 10 p.m.
Sounds good.
Right, champion. Joe's commenting on my robe. Yeah, I've about to have a bath, Joe, and I'm currently sitting here slathered in Tiger Balm.
I'm a bit disappointed, Malcolm. I'm going to have to slum it in a normal bath this week. I had a lovely jacuzzi bath on my balcony overlooking the sea for the last week. So it was, my thing after coming back from the pool was just laying in that little whirlpool bath, looking over the sea, watching the sun go down with a beer in my hand. And tomorrow it'll be back to slumming it in my own house.
Shit, cracking it. Right, back Thursday. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate your involvement. Good luck with your Champions League bets, and we will see you all down the road. Cheers.